Welcome to the Lippis Report.
Hi everyone, I'm Nick Lippis and I'm here at iSimCity where we're testing Extreme's products for the active-active Ethernet fabric test. What I want to do in this one particular segment is to really give you a great idea on how you can expand and move VMs from one location to another location over L3 boundaries. Now this is really important because today a lot of companies have been saying build these large flat layer 2 networks where you run into large broadcast storms and you have a scale issue associated with being able to move VMs within racks and across racks in an L2 confine. So if you can move them across L3 boundaries, then what you basically get is independence in terms of geography. So you can move VMs anywhere within your data center and also between your data centers as well. So there's been a lot of solutions to this that people have been talking about, such as VXLAN, Lisp. Also, Microsoft has their NVRG technology as well. So we're going to have a discussion now about how you can take VMs and move them across L3 boundaries. And I have with me Renuke Mandis from Extreme Networks. So Renuke, I want to say a quick hi. Hello.
Hi, I'm Renuke Mandis. I'm a technical marketing engineer at Extreme Networks. And Nick, what we are going to show today is the ability to maintain your existing networks and establish layer 2 geographic dispersion in your network so that you can essentially maintain your data centers in 2 different locations, but also introduce the concepts of virtualization and be able to migrate virtual machines from one location to another. The technology that we propose has been used for a long time, both from virtual machine standpoint as well as the technology for the network transport. We're going to be using VPLS, right?
Yep.
And by doing so, we can essentially, virtual machines have been migrated on our networks for a long time. We have been doing this for about 3 years. We have a technology called Extreme Networks Virtualization, or XNV, that enables you to establish port profiles and access control lists and tie them up with virtual machines on the network. But we can now essentially tie that up with this transport layer using MPLS, VPLS, and maintain your existing networks, your existing layer 3 networks, and migrate virtual machines across a wide area.
Okay, great. So what I want to do right now is look at the configuration, and we have the configuration set up here at iSimCity. All the Extreme gear is in the lab, and so we're going to have remote access to that. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about the configuration, what it's made up of, and also we have a little bit of a demo before the demo to kind of show you what we're going to do around moving VMs across L3 boundaries. So, Renuke, what's the configuration look like?
Sure, Nick. So I have this diagram here that kind of explains our setup. We have label edge routers on the bottom, and we have the label switch router on top. Essentially, the layer 3 boundary is on all 3 devices, right? So you can have a layer 3 boundary on the edge or on the label switch routers, as you know. The configuration is very simple. We are hypervisor agnostic. We could have any hypervisor such as Microsoft Hyper-V or KVM, Citrix, any of these, of course VMware, any of these environments supported in this layer 2 environment. What we're going to show is a hypervisor in one location at one data center and transporting a virtual machine across the wide area network, across the layer 3 boundary into the second data center's hypervisor located in the second data center.
Okay. Very good, excellent. So that's what we're going to be showing. So let's go take a look at that live right now. Okay, so Renuke, let's actually go into the management systems and actually make this happen.
Okay, sure. In our demonstration, what we're going to show is a virtual machine migrating from a hypervisor that you see on the server on the left over to the server on the right, and it's going to happen across our VPLS enabled layer 2 VPN. So as you see, we're going to migrate through a layer 3 boundary. The layer 3 boundary is established on the label edge routers, which are shown on the bottom here, as well as the label switching router, which is established in the shown in the middle here. Now, in a real world network, Nick, you may see multiple devices represented in the wide area network, and that's fine as well. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to the screen where we have the consoles to these three switches. You see the switch on the left has the VLANs 10 and 20, which are the VLANs that are used by the hypervisor environment, and so are these VLANs are also configured on the switch on the right. And you see that these VLANs are not configured in the switch in the middle, because it's just the transport network which are depicted by VLAN 100 and 200, and that's our layer 3 boundary. Okay, so I'm going to migrate this virtual machine called video server. Actually, before I do that, let me show you the MAC addresses associated with that virtual machine. So I'm going to look at the MAC address on VLAN 20 here, and the MAC address for that video server virtual machine is 11.11.11, ends with 11.11.11, and you see that MAC address is shown here pointing to the pseudo wire right on the switch on the right. So once I migrate it, which I'm going to do right now, you will see that the MAC address will be pointing to the pseudo wire on the switch on the left, and it will be pointing to the local port on the switch on the right. Okay, so this will change to the pseudo wire. Let's take a look at that now. See, now it's changed to the pseudo wire. There you go, and on this side it will be changed to a local port 11.11.11. So essentially, what I've shown you, Nick, is that we have migrated a virtual machine from a hypervisor on the left to the hypervisor on the right, and shown that the MAC address has moved from the local port on the left side to a local port on the right side, and from a pseudo wire on the right side to a pseudo wire on the left side.
Okay, oh, great, excellent. Well, what you just saw was how easy it is to move a virtual machine, and it doesn't matter what virtual machine, it is, by the way, from one L2 domain to another L2 domain through an L3 boundary, which is huge. So we have, in essence, we have hypervisor agnostics, independence, you have geographic independence as well. So that allows a degree of freedom to move VMs within a data center, between data centers as well, independent upon where they might be, any place on the planet, as long as you have the bandwidth there, of course. So that's basically this demo. Renuke, I'd like to thank you for coming on in today and showing us this.
Thank you, Nick.
That concludes this edition of the Lippis Report. Thank you for joining us. Look for us every Tuesday and Thursday. To get your free subscription to the Lippis Report newsletter, go to www.lippis.com. To sponsor the Lippis Report podcast, send email to sales@lippis.com.